Thank you, Fernando, Vikalp, and Andrea. So, without a doubt, the COVID-19 global pandemic was one of the most disastrous health crises in a century, and also one of the worst economic crises because suddenly hundreds of millions of people were either unable to work or their jobs had disappeared. However, in many countries, the worst effects of these crises were ameliorated due to the massive government programs to ensure that their citizens, often the most vulnerable, had sufficient funds to feed their families, as well as stimulate the broader economy. So, one of my favorite presentations from DevOps Enterprise was in 2016 from the UK HMRC, Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs, their tax collection agency for the UK government. They described how they made it easier than ever for citizens to do their personal tax assessment, enabling, say, the single parent to file their taxes with a click of the button on their bus ride home. And they did this despite being embedded in a massively and famously complex IT estate. So up next is another amazing story from HMRC. This is the story about how last year they were able to distribute hundreds of billions of pounds to UK citizens and businesses, an unprecedented financial support package that would eventually see around 25% of the entire UK workforce being supported by public money. And they heroically built this technology to do this in 4 weeks under conditions of incredible pressure and uncertainty. This story is told by Ben Conrad, who is their head of Agile delivery, responsible for the multi-channel digital tax platform, of which the success of this entire program hinged upon. And he will be presenting with Matt Hyatt, Technical Delivery Manager at Equal Expert. They will describe the incredible challenges that they had to overcome and how they achieved their amazing outcomes. Here's Ben and Matt.
Hello, I'm Ben Conrad. I joined the civil service 4 years ago in order to come and work on the digital platform that we're going to be talking about. I've had a few job titles in that time, and currently the line at the bottom of my emails reads Head of Agile Delivery.
Hi folks, I'm Matt Hyatt and I'm an Agile delivery consultant with Equal Experts. I've spent the last 2 years working together with Ben and a team of about 70 people who build and maintain HMRC's primary digital platform. Today, we're going to talk about that platform, why we think it's successful, and then share some stories about delivering services to save the economy in the midst of the pandemic.
Let's start with some context, although I imagine many of you are already familiar with HMRC. We are the UK's tax collector. We collect taxes from individuals and businesses in the United Kingdom. And as you may have heard, there's a slightly expanded role in the area of customs due to some small rule changes recently. The civil service is apolitical, and we are largely an operational department who have relatively little policy work. HM Treasury, headed by the Chancellor of the Exchequer, sets the economic policy for the UK government. And what HMRC does is make the policies of the government a reality, which can be quite challenging in itself. There are around 60,000 people working in the department as a whole, with about 2,000 working within HMRC Digital. And we are the big player in the UK government when it comes to digital. HMRC is responsible for around 70% of all government transactions with the public that happen over the internet. And it's because of that that when COVID-19 hit, HMRC played a key role in delivering the UK government's financial response to the economic crisis. On the 23rd of March last year, the Prime Minister made an announcement in which he gave the British people a very simple instruction: you must stay at home. In the first lockdown, the British people were only allowed to leave their homes to go shopping for necessities, take exercise, or if absolutely necessary, to travel to work, or check their ability to drive by visiting Barnard Castle, obviously. Everyone working on building digital services were, of course, able to work from home. Indeed, we've been doing so for some time prior to this instruction. We have the technology, and there was no negative impact to our productivity. We were the lucky ones. The lockdowns had a whopping great impact on the UK economy. Every country had its own experience of the pandemic. For the UK, like many European countries, it was extreme, and that is without the health crisis itself. We experienced the most severe economic contraction for over 300 years. It made the global financial crisis look like a blip. This chart shows the impact of the first national lockdown, but there have been 3 so far, during which we were ordered to stay at home. Thousands of businesses paused or ceased trading, and millions of citizens lost their income. Industries were completely decimated as people simply couldn't work. Hospitality, travel, the arts were all closed. The government responded by announcing an unprecedented financial support package that would eventually see around 25% of the entire UK workforce being supported directly by public money. This support had to be accessed somehow. The Chancellor announced in a live television broadcast that HMRC would provide access by building 4 new digital services and doing so fast. From the time of the broadcast, which is more or less when our teams found out, they were given 20 working days to deliver the first service. The spike on this chart is from the announcement of the self-employed income support scheme, which before we'd built any new services at all, people were logging into their tax accounts to calculate themselves what they might be eligible for. A normal new digital service might take 9 to 12 months to deliver, from inception through a discovery phase, building an MVP, an alpha, private beta, before being launched as a public beta. But for the COVID services, we just didn't have this luxury. But the challenges went way beyond ludicrous timescales. We knew we'd have millions of users, but nobody could actually tell us how many. Whatever we built had to be accessible to everyone and had to be capable of paying out billions into bank accounts within hours of launch.